Hey Blake, we're gonna go see a movie.
Fuck off.
So, Blaine, what movie are we gonna be watching?
Dark Tower.
We're actually finally gonna go see it?
We're actually gonna go see it this time.
We're actually gonna go see, The Disaster Artist.
What time is it?
Party time.
In the U.S. I forgot how that song went. Shit, dude. Look at that big dick.
Hello everyone, I'm Blake Childress, and I'm that one filmmaker, and yesterday I watched The Disaster Artist. So I'm just gonna talk about it and say my my thoughts on the movie. My shirt on backwards. Fuck, hold on a second. You still recording?
Yeah.
Damn it, I wanted it to cut and it just goes back in the same. So first, before I talk about The Disaster Artist, let's talk about The Room. The Room, despite the fact that I think it's a little too popular, I don't know how to say it's overrated without making it seem like it's not as good as everyone says it is. It's amazing. I think it's one of the best movies I've seen in my life. Unironically. It's really funny. And that's what The Disaster Artist is about. It's basically like a documentary style movie made by people that are known for comedies. So most people would probably think it's just a fucking usual James Franco, Seth Rogen comedy, but no, it's like a documentary without the actual people. I don't really know how to explain that. Blaine, do you know how to explain that? Blaine? So basically, The Disaster Artist is about Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero, and basically it's about how those two guys met up in an actual acting class and made The Room. That's probably the best explanation I could come up with without spoiling too much. The acting of the movie is awesome. I love it. James Franco's cool. The only problem is everyone else besides James Franco isn't really great. Dave Franco tries to be Greg Sestero. Everyone else is, fine for the most part. The only thing is just James Franco was so good at playing Tommy Wiseau that makes everyone else seem like amateurs. But all around the acting is fine. James Franco is 10 out of 10. I'm sorry for moving my hands. Just yeah, and guess what? It was made by fucking A24. So the movie that I claim to be the worst movie that I've actually seen in theaters this year was produced by A24, but the movie that I think was the best was also produced by A24. Still, I like the movie, even though it's not as it didn't chronicle everything that happened. And there were some plot mishaps. There was some just weird shit that they did that I just didn't like. But overall, it's still a pretty cool movie. I mean, the writing was pretty good. I mean, I don't really want to say, the writing was subliminal. It was the best thing I've ever seen in my life. It's good. It's not bad. It's not Citizen Kane levels of cinematic art. It's more or less just, passable. I guess, there were some funny jokes in there. I don't know if they were actual things that happened in real life or if just screenwriters had to come up with something, so they just wrote a couple jokes in there. I'd probably believe the latter more than, truth. Yeah, Dave Franco's fine. I'm pretty sure James Franco just wanted somebody that he could interact with, so he just chose his brother. I mean, I think anyone would do that in his situation. Just choose your brother that also kind of acts, and just go from there. Now, let's talk about the things I didn't really like. The ending, like I said, it's not true, or at least it's not how it really happened. I mean, okay, let's go for it. Spoiler alert. I don't give a shit about spoilers, but I'm just going to go for it anyway. Click off the video if you don't want to hear the amazing ending of The Disaster Artist. But the ending of the movie involves Tommy walking out and being like, oh, they don't like my movie. They misinterpreted it. Oh no. Then Greg Sestero goes out there and sees Tommy and tells him, hey, you made a movie. Not many people can say that I've made a movie, that I directed it, I wrote it, I produced it, and I starred in it. And Tommy's like, whoa, I did make a movie. And then they both go back to the theater. They see everyone laughing at the suicide ending of The Room. And they're all like laughing, and like some people say that it was uncomfortable and that they went too far with it. To be honest, I don't think it was that bad. I mean, to be honest, they were laughing a little too much. Like, I didn't watch The Room and go, ha 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 ha, like at the suicide ending. I just kind of watched and I was like, eh. But I mean, they just wanted to show that it's a cult movie or whatever. So they went too far with the laughing. So whatever. And then Tommy Wiseau gets up on stage and is like, it was my point the whole time. It was supposed to be a comedy. I don't think that's actually really how it happened. Like, I don't want to be the guy, the fucking straw that broke the camel's back, but that's not how it happened. If you want to know how it really happened, the best way I can explain it is that he watched it the first time, and I was like, oh, they misinterpreted my movie. Then he went to another theater, and then another theater, and then another theater. Then eventually figured out, oh shit, I made a cult movie, and people think it's funny. I mean, to be honest, I like the Disaster Artist version more than the real life thing. Like, I would much rather watch that than them try to scramble together him just going to various theaters. Because they do say that he went to various theaters, except it's in this little heartwarming after credits scene. Well, not really after credits scene, but after the movie is done, just before the credits roll or whatever, they put some little, sentences. I don't know how to fucking call it. They put little sentences that say, Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero are still acting, producing, and writing and directing films together, and they're still going around the world premiering The Room, and people throw fucking plastic spoons at the screen and stuff like that. I mean, I'd much rather have that than, again, him just going around and saying, oh man, I made a cult movie, than the credits roll. The one thing I could say that I really enjoyed about the movie was that after the sentences, they play like a scene comparison of like, here's The Room, and here's the Disaster Artist version of The Room, and they compare it, and they let people watch and see, how they worked on it. Now, I don't know if they actually made the entire movie. I don't think they did. They probably just recreated a couple scenes. The most famous ones, like I did not hit her. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. And, oh, hi, doggy. Also, one thing to note, I don't really go to much comedies anymore, in movies, because, to be honest, I think comedy is dead nowadays. I don't think the genre is dead, because, the genre lives on YouTube, and in some form or another. But, I think movie comedy is almost dead, because the same people make the same shit, and I don't want to say the same old indie filmmaker excuse of cinema is horrible and indie filmmaking is so much better. I'm not going to say that stuff. I love movies. But I don't really go to many comedies anymore. And watching this movie was amazing because it was the best cinema experience I've ever had in my life. Because everyone was laughing. I've never been to a movie where everyone was laughing so hard that the entire theater just felt like there was laughs rumbling against the walls and shit like that. It was amazing. There were some people that were applauding in the middle of the movie. It was, for lack of a better word, remarkable. And I really enjoyed the movie for that. So, all in all, the Disaster Artist gets a 9 out of 10. I'm not going to say A24 redeemed themselves because they're still making weird indie films. I still don't think that they're a good production company. And I don't even know if I'd count the Disaster Artist as an indie movie. I mean, it's not a Hollywood movie by any means, but I don't think I'd call something made by James Franco an indie film. I mean, that's just me. I mean, anybody can say what they want, but that's just who I am. Also, one thing to point out, just two things if you're interested in seeing the movie that you need to just sort of understand. First of all, I think I brought up this point, but if you're expecting a comedy, and I said that everyone was laughing and everything, if you're expecting a comedy, then you're not going to get one. The movie is not necessarily a comedy. It's more or less just sort of a documentary style, just a funny movie. It's trying to be serious. Yeah, it's trying to be how it was in real life, and we're just thinking about how it would be if this was how it was in real life or whatever. I can't explain it. It's sort of a documentary, but again, it's not. It doesn't have the real people in it, so it's just sort of a biography. And watching it just is funny. All I'm going to say is, if you're expecting, like I said, a Seth Rogen, James Franco, usual comedy, then don't watch this movie. Or, well, I shouldn't say don't watch this movie. I should say just don't expect a comedy. And the other thing I wanted to say was that if you have never seen The Room and you're thinking about seeing this movie, then I wholeheartedly recommend, like, a couple of hours before watching the movie, watch The Room, because it'll make much more sense if you know who Tommy Wiseau is and, you know, just know about The Room. Because if you go into the movie and you don't know jack shit about anything, then you're not going to enjoy it as much as the people who do know what The Room is.